Hi.
Hey.
Happy Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I am Carrie and this
I'm
is
Kelsey. Yeah.
We are co-owners of EtchLife. We're a lifestyle brand and we're joining you live this morning in our shop. We were just processing some real life stuff and talking about, real life. And we thought, you know what? I bet other people may benefit from the same conversation. Maybe you can relate, maybe you can't, but we feel like it's real life. And so we're just wanting you to process and have a conversation. We're welcoming you into our conversation, basically.
We don't have the answers and we're not pretending to, but we just wanted to maybe let you join in on where our thoughts are today and just be vulnerable and help you to see that we probably have the same struggles that you do. And so I don't know if what we're learning from the Lord today encourages you in your walk with the Lord, then great. That's all that we're doing today.
That's right. So our conversation started because last night I was at my kids' basketball practice and I was talking with another mom and talking about, throughout the day, different people asked us like, so what are you doing for Valentine's Day tonight? And, both of us in our own worlds told our people like, oh, well, it's a typical Wednesday night. We have basketball practice and Awana, and this kid has this. And
I have 3 kids under the age of 5. So what are you going to do with Valentine's Day? I don't know.
Exactly. Like, it's just a normal night. So welcome to Life with Kids. Anyway, so this mom and I were talking at basketball practice and just how she said, I was actually a little relieved that we had basketball practice, that we had normal things going on because there's so much pressure and expectations with Valentine's Day or any kind of holiday like that. And so it just got me thinking.
Raise your hand if you can relate.
That's right. Yes. So I was just thinking about that last night, like, wow, there are so many expectations. And with social media and different things, we put an expectation on the holiday. We put an expectation on ourselves, on our husbands, whoever in our life, that we need to have this great night,
production, almost.
Yeah, and make all our people feel loved when it's not. It's great, thing. Yeah, but it's an everyday thing. So anyway, so Kelsey and I started processing about expectations and just how so often I was telling her like my kids. I've been processing with my kids. I have a almost 12, almost 10, and a 7-year-old, and all 3 of them in different ways, and myself struggle with, we have these expectations of how something should go, or an expectation of how, my daughter in middle school thinks she should get a certain grade on her test, or how she should perform in a basketball game, or whatever it is. I struggle with expectations like, here's how my day is going to go. This is what my calendar, my to-do lists say. So here's how the day is going to go. And when it doesn't, it can really rock my world.
I think I got stuck in expectations of people and how, maybe it's my husband, maybe because I'm comparing myself to the rest of the world on Valentine's Day, I think, oh, you should take me out for a meal and buy me flowers, and if you don't, then you're not really showing me that you love me the way I want to be loved. And, it's just like a downward spiral, and I think that's where we're kind of stuck today, trying to process through putting expectations on like the result of something. Mm-hmm. Isn't that what you were kind of saying? Like it just leaves us empty because
if our expectation isn't met, then it's almost like we put our hope in the result of that expectation and not in the Lord. And I've been so convicted of that lately and processing this with my kids, like, oh, I do that too, because I'm like, kids, you're putting your expectation, your hope in your friend or your basketball game or whatever, your performance, what you're able to do. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should turn that finger back around at me because, oh my gosh, I put my expectation in all the wrong things too. Like, I want my house to be clean. And when it's not, I'm, But so this goes with our My Only Hope collection. That's what I've really been using with my kids. So I got both girls a My Only Hope water bottle because we've been processing this. And so put your hope in the Lord and not in all these expectations or different things that are going on.
And talking about, our shop is open today, so if we run away, it's because we have customers. We were talking about, too, how when expectations aren't met, that leaves us making assumptions as to the motives of why they weren't met. And gosh, I don't know about you, but the enemy messes with my thoughts, and he, like, that's just where he can get in, and it just festers, and it just completely wipes out any peace I have, any joy that I have. He gets into my thoughts, and so I'm just trying to process, like, okay, what is the root of my expectation? Like, I know that my husband loves me. I know that Carrie, like, I can trust her, and so if she comes in late for something, like, there's a good reason for it, like, and so when my unmet expectations lead to unhealthy assumptions, then that just opens the door wide open for Satan to get in and start picking at every little thing that isn't true. It isn't true.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot on our Etch team about let's fill the gap with trust. And if there's a problem, let's talk about it, but fill it with trust, because I trust you, Kelsey trusts me, we trust Terry. There's a trust there, and instead of letting Satan get in the middle of it, bridge it with trust. Always go to trust. And so I think that's so important in the relationships in our lives, of going to trust first and talking about it.
But it's like this vicious cycle, right? Because what we know about trust is that someone only has the opportunity to prove they're trustworthy if we give them the opportunity to. So it's like this circular argument of, like, well, Carrie, I trust you, but it's a choice I'm making to trust you so that you can then prove to me that you're trustworthy. And don't we do that with the Lord? Like, all the time. I feel like I'm stuck in, like, God, I don't really know if I want to trust you completely in this area of my life. So I'm going to halfway trust you, but then I'm not giving him the opportunity to even show me that he's trustworthy. Yeah. And so, like, it is my thing to surrender, and it is my choice, I guess, in my expectations and whatever, and filling the gap with trust instead of making assumptions. Like, I have to do it in order to deepen my relationships so that I can grow in those relationships, so that I can go closer to the Lord. But, like, it's just like this
vicious cycle.
And it's ugly, because in the middle of the cycle, Satan wants to interject. And so we were talking this morning, too, about take every thought captive. The Bible talks about taking your thoughts captive. And so, like, even this morning you were saying you got here and you're like, I just had to...
I sat on... We have a couch by our big window, and I sat there for 10 minutes. No one else was here yet, and I just sat down, and I was like, I gotta, like, figure this out. Because all morning I was preaching to myself, like, take every thought captive. And I looked up the verse. It's in 2 Corinthians 10. And I think it's interesting because before it says take every thought captive, it's talking about how we're at war with the flesh. And so then I was thinking, like, all morning my mind wanted to go a million other ways and believe lies. And sometimes when I get in those downward spirals, like, I can't remember truth. Like, sometimes it's hard. I'm like, I know this is not true, but I don't know what truth is. And this morning it was very clear, like, take every thought captive. Okay, take every thought captive. So I just kept, like, mantra, like, repeating over and over, like, as I was in the shower, as I was doing my makeup, like, everything, take every thought captive. And hi, Marla. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, so I looked up the verse, and then when it was talking about being at war with the flesh, I thought, oh my goodness. And
you want to read it?
Yes. So, for although we live in the flesh, we do not wage war according to the flesh, since the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but are powerful through God for the demolition of strongholds. We demolish arguments and every proud thing that is raised up against the knowledge of God, and we take every thought captive to obey Christ. I was like, yes, that's what.
And that's our part. Like, that's our part, is to take the thoughts captive and line them up against the truth of His word.
Yes.
And girls, like, I don't know. We're just sitting here today because that is the only reason that we are running this business.
Yep.
Like,
it's where it started.
We need truth. And just like Carrie said, like, she sat here this morning and she knew that the lies that she was hearing weren't true, but she couldn't remember the truth. And so, like, that's the whole point of us making any of this stuff for you to take with you on a daily basis is because we need to remember what's true, because the world is telling us, like, oh, here's your Valentine's Day. Here's what it should look like for you to have a successful one. Yes. Or the world is telling you, here's what the standard is for you to measure up to be successful. And if you're not meeting that standard, then you're not successful. And there's all this garbage.
Well, and even lies about what our relationship with the Lord should look like, or how we should parent our children, and teaching them, there's so many layers to it, even in our Christian world at church. Like, all my kids need to be dressed a certain way and we need to look like this perfect little family. When, there are days where my son is like, all I want to wear are basketball shorts and an old t-shirt and my socks up to my knees. And it's a battle for me because I have that ideal, like, what are people going to think if you wear, and then I'm like, you know what? One less battle I have to fight. God doesn't care. God just wants him there in the building. And so just things like that even expectations that we tell ourselves, for example, Kelsey thinks this of me. Like I was telling her yesterday, I got on the live video and I forgot to flip the camera so that, you could read my shirt. And as soon as I noticed it, as I was live, I told her immediately in my head, I heard the girls telling me like, oh, she forgot to turn the video around, blah, 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 negative, critical, which is not true. We've all done it. We all, we're not perfect. All real life. But those are the negative thoughts that we get in our own heads. But that's where I started with the take every thought captive. Like yesterday, I was already telling myself negative things like, you're not good enough to do this and you can't, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's crazy what a powerful thing our minds can be. Negative and positive. Like it can really, because if you let the negative thoughts in your head, it can send you into a downward spiral and you stay there for a long time.
You can't see truth, you can't hear truth.
Yes.
You can read your Bible, and we've been here, like we're saying it, like we can read the Bible and it feels empty. Like, God, this is not sinking in, but like just the choice regularly, multiple times a day. I'm fighting this too. This is why I'm saying it. It's my choice. It's my opportunity to either choose to pursue the Lord and the things that matter for eternity, and base my thoughts and my hopes on that. On that, this morning I was spending time with a sweet college girl, just going through the Bible with her, and that was one of the things, if we viewed everything in light of eternity, how would that affect how we approach things? How does that affect our thoughts on things? How does that affect how we treat people or what we spend our time on? And it's just, I'm convicted. I'm not preaching at you. I'm saying this is a real struggle. And so that's the only reason we're sitting here. Yes. But so I had this thought, and I'm just having this thought. Of course I am. But I think that the Lord, it's twofold. When we start getting in this downward spiral of, our unmet expectations lead to negative thinking, and we need to take it captive. I think I forget, maybe you do too, that prayer is our weapon. How often do we go into a situation and we think, I have to fix it. My job is to take this thought captive, which that is probably step one. Yeah. But we are not, if we do not take things to the Lord in prayer, and I'm preaching to myself, we are not letting the Lord in to do anything in our lives. And so my sweet husband, he just always gives me little tidbits, and I think this is his gentle way of trying to encourage me back to the Lord when I'm festering about something. And so this morning he handed me this devotional, and he photocopied it, you guys. So he prepared to give it to me. So apparently I need it. But it was talking this is a big concept. The idea of grace. I feel like I'm never fully understanding grace. But it's from 2 Corinthians 6:1, and it said, "We plead with you not to receive the grace of God in vain." So they're talking about grace as the overflowing favor of God. You can always count on it being available to draw upon as needed. Whose choice is it to draw upon the Lord's grace? That's me. It's on us. That's me. I have to draw upon the Lord's grace. So this is this is a lot. But then it continues to talk about prayer and drawing on the Lord's grace. And it says, are you failing to rely on the grace of God to get you where you want to go? Yep. Are you saying to yourself, oh, well, I won't count it this time? Is this not a question of praying for God to help you? It is taking the grace of God now. So like tapping into prayer and praying and asking the Lord for his grace is tapping into him in the moment. And sometimes I get caught even like, oh, I'm going to work. I'm going to process. I'm going to think. I'll pray later.
Mm-hmm. Or even like, I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
What do I need to change?
When I come to a resolution, then I'll take it before the Lord and say, here's what I figured out, God. Like, here's what I need you to do to fix me. No. Like, so then it continues to go on. This is what really got me. We tend to make prayer the preparation for our service. Yet that is not in the Bible. Prayer is the practice of drawing on the grace of God. So I was just stuck there, like, prayer is practice of drawing on the grace of God. So when I'm stuck, for lack of better words, like, without prayer, without drawing on the Lord's grace, like, I'm never going to get through it. You are never going to be able to take your thoughts captive enough that they go away.
Yep.
Like, we are never going to be fully relieved of all of these tensions that we feel about unmet expectations or I don't know, like, I just, like, there's such freedom. And so, yes, it's our responsibility to take our thoughts captive, and that is so good, because that helps us check, like, is this truth or is this a lie?
Yes.
Where, like, discerning where this comes from. But tapping into prayer allows the grace of God to fill that space so that we're free from carrying it around as a weight. I don't know if any of you listened to the If Gathering this past weekend. If you haven't, you can still go on, I think, and purchase the videos. That so good. If you don't know what the If Gathering is, you should Google it. But Christine Kane was talking about Hebrews, and she was saying, like, you know, that the Bible calls us to throw off every sin and every weight that entangles us so that we can run our race. And she was talking about how there's a reason that the writer says throw off the sin and the weight, like as if they're separate things, because sometimes we are weighed down and it's not even sin.
So
like
true. Your
thoughts, like you are weighed down in your thoughts, and that's not necessarily because you sinned in order to create those thoughts. You know, it might have been, but anyway. And so she was talking about, like, throw off the weight. That might be expectations. That might be whatever. That might be relationships that were once good and now they're weighing you down. Like, but like that's our choice. Throw off the weight. And so I think that I get stuck though is because I just shoulder the weight and I carry it around, and then I think, okay, God, you know, if you want to take this away, then you'll fix my problem, instead of allowing his grace just to come in and fill that space so that the weight can be lifted from me. I don't have to just, you know, I mean, it's my choice to, like, whether or not I'm going to take this weighted backpack off or not. But
well, and how many times have we talked about the weight in our lives? They can be good things. Like, there's nothing wrong with serving in different areas, or helping with a kid's Valentine party, or serving in different ministries at church, or kids being involved in sport. Like, those are all good things and they're not sin, but we can sometimes fill our backpacks with so many things and make our schedule so full that there's no room. There's no room to love on, and I'm talking to myself because my calendar is full. And I don't let my kids do all the stuff. Like, they all have one thing and then a church thing, you know, and it's like, there goes my week. But it just so easily, like, creeps in and takes every spare moment to where I'm not even aware a lot of times of, like, oh, I wonder what's going on in her life. Like, how can I love on her? Or sending a text because I know she has sick kids and encouraging her. Like, oh, I'm so stuck in my own mess, in my own world. Down. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, gotta get through my calendar, gotta get everybody to their places, and not looking up, you know? And I've talked about it on social media and different things too, of, like, being intentional with, okay, when I'm at the grocery store, yes, I need to get everything on my list, but, what about interacting with the cashier and encouraging her in her day? It's not doing anything extra than what I'm already doing, but how can we love on the people as we go throughout our day? How can we encourage our kids? So there's a blog post that will be coming out soon that I wrote about what I've learned about parenting through parenting my tween. And one of them is driving carpool. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Driving carpool, because I've learned so much about the teenage year or the tween years, middle school years, just from having multiple middle schoolers in my van at one time. And it's also given me the opportunity to encourage them and speak truth into their life and love on them. And it goes a long way. And it's not I would be driving my daughter to and from musical practice anyway, but throw a couple extra kids in my car and all of a sudden there's an audience. And it's amazing how we can be intentional in the places we already are and what we're already doing if we just make the effort and go, open our mouth and be available. But I think it's good to be aware of the extra weight that we carry with us, because we don't want that to prevent us from being effective in ministry and telling others about the Lord and even loving our own people. Like if we're so exhausted and done that then we come home and we're a hot mess to our family. Sorry, family. It's hard. It's hard.
I think so. We were ranting, but to bring this full circle, here's what I feel like that the Lord has brought me to. If I view everything in my life in light of eternity, okay? So I put my faith in Jesus Christ. I believe in him. I believe in the work that he did on the cross to save me from my sin. And I believe that my only purpose on this earth is to glorify him. What does that look like for my life? And what is getting in the way and keeping me from, as Christine Kane was talking about in Hebrews, of running my race? And, I think that the lies of the enemy keep me from glorifying the Lord and running my race. I think that having unrealistic expectations based on what my culture tells me I should have, that keeps me from running my race, because then I'm stuck in comparison, and that's not a healthy place to be. I think about, I don't know, but so full circle, if that's ultimately our goal, is to glorify the Lord, then when we're carrying these weights and these lies that the enemy is feeding us, we cannot glorify him. And I'm guilty of that. I get stuck with my head down, and I don't have time to look up and notice that the Lord has put someone right in front of me that he wants me to pray with that day, or he wants me to love on by giving them a reel or giving their kid a ride, or it is the we were talking about small group this week, and one of the girls in our group is a counselor, a licensed counselor, and she was saying that studies have proven that trust is built in the little bitty things.
Yeah, like sending a text, or when they're sick. That's what made me think of it.
When I'm so consumed with myself and what I deserve and what I should have, I can't glorify the Lord. Yeah. I can't. And when I'm believing the lies of the enemy and not standing on his truth, I can't bless others. Yeah. I'm bringing others down with me. Yeah. And I'm empty. Yeah. I got nothing to give. I'm just, I'm drained.
Yep.
So
this kind of goes back to the heart of Etch and why we started, because this is us, real life. You got a glimpse into our shop conversations that we have. Not every day, obviously. We're not ever we're not always. Sometimes we're like, woo, 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 this is a good day. But this is why we started, because we need encouragement. We need to see it in our homes. We need to wear truth. We're both. You think it's one of those days? It's one of those days. Work of heart, be courageous. That's what we needed today. And so we need it in every area of our life, because the lies creep in so often. And if we don't have truth right in front of us, or holding on, if we don't have it close, then the lies will just continue to creep in. And so that's why Etch started, was because we need truth everywhere, and we want it to be beautiful, so that we want it up in our homes. We want to wear it. We want it to be cute. Give it as a gift. Encourage others. That's why we started this, is because we need it so desperately. And so if we need it, we're assuming you do too.
If you don't, that's okay. But
that's right.
We'll just make it for ourselves.
That's right.
We do.
Yes.
Oh, but you know what? It's funny because we sat at our desk this morning and we were having this conversation, and we felt like the Lord was saying, would you just go, like, be vulnerable and share this with other people? And both of us were like, no! Like, no, I don't want to let people in. But you know what? Like, I feel like he tells me this every day. There is freedom in community. And when we are in community and talking about our struggles and processing with people who can shed truth and light on our struggles, then it cannot stay in the darkness.
Yeah.
Like, if Carrie would have, like, sat on the couch this morning and festered in her negative thoughts and never told me, like, those negative thoughts would have stayed in the darkness, and light couldn't have got to it. And Scripture says that the light cannot be overcome by the darkness. And so I'm saying that to myself because I need to be more vulnerable and I need to be in community. So we're going to try to do better. I'm going to say that out loud.
Yes.
Like,
there you go.
We're
it's
going to
out
try
there.
to be more vulnerable and even like we just want to communicate our heart behind what we're doing and everything that we create, because like the things we create are rooted in Scripture, and we do not feel like they are empty. Like they are full of life, and if we would just believe the truth and tap into the power of God's grace in our lives, and how to just let him in. And it's not normal, and it's countercultural, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's scary.
But like, I'm so thankful because when I am willing to be vulnerable in community and even pray together, like the Lord can come in. And I don't know if you've experienced the Lord that way, but he's real. Like, if we believe that Jesus was real, what would our lives look like?
Yeah.
Like, he's real. And if you don't know him, we would love to share him with you and tell you about what he did on the cross for our sins, and to walk alongside of you. Like, that's the only reason we're here. We're just trying to use our gifts to glorify the Lord. So all that to say, we just unloaded our thought process.
There you go.
Take it or leave it. If you don't want to watch, that's okay. But maybe the Lord's teaching you this alongside of us. And so we just want to be vulnerable and letting you into our thoughts today, and to just encourage you. Like, you're not alone, and it's hard. Like, just because we say, okay, Jesus, I give my life to you, that doesn't mean that it's all roses the rest of our life. Like, the part of the process of becoming more like him is hard, and we never fully arrive. So,
well, and so one of the reasons we wanted to hop on here too was because, you know, with social media comes like, look at the beautiful images, look at us, we're doing this business, we're doing these things, like we have it all together. And I was sharing with Kelsey, and she was like, we were going back and forth, but how it's hard to put up there. Some days it's easy to be like, oh yeah, we don't have it together either. Like, but then there's other times where it's like, I don't really want to throw that out there because, you know, we're doing Etch, and this is what God has given us. And so we kind of like some days struggle with, oh, we need to have it all together but that's the expectation we put on ourselves. And that's not why we started. We started because we don't have it all together, nor will we ever. And that's why we need Jesus. But it is like why we wanted to get on here, just to show you, like, we struggle. Maybe this isn't your struggle, the things we talked about today, but, you know, we all have our things that are a hardship and a struggle in our life, and something we need to take to the Lord. And so we just want to get on here to show you, like, and process with you. We don't have it all together either. We are all doing this together. If you do want to process more with us, you can send us a Facebook message, or you can email us, info@etch.life. We would love to continue this conversation with you, share more about what the Lord has done in our lives, and what he's done for you, for your life. And so we would love to continue that conversation if you would like to, or you can stop in our shop and talk to us in person if you're local. That would be really, really fun.
And we're unashamed. So if you know of a friend that needs to hear this truth today, like, share this video with them. Or, you know, at any point, like, we got nothing to hide.
Yep.
I mean, we're terrified of being vulnerable, so if that's you, great, join with us. But there is so much freedom in it because light can shine in the darkness. So,
that's right.
You know, whatever. You can share.
Yeah, share this on your Facebook page. If you are feeling the same way, share it on your Facebook page and let your friends hear what we're going through.
At any point.
We're totally fine with that. Like, this is out for all to hear. So we're good with that. It's the story God has given us. So.
That's right. So we just invite you to walk with us. We don't have all the answers, but anyway. So if you were here today, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, send us a message. If you are processing something or you need prayer, we would love to pray with you. We pray for you guys anyway, collectively, but if there's something specific, we would love to pray with you. So please let us be a part of your community.
Yes.
As you're a part of ours.
Yes.
But anyway, we love you, and we just hope you have a great day and are able to tap into the grace of the Lord today by communing and talking to Him through prayer, even when it's hard and scary and unknown.
That's right. That's right.
It's good. Yeah. It's really good because we believe Jesus is real.
That's right.
And
hashtag
that solves
Jesus is
all
real.
problems. So hashtag
That's right.
Jesus is real. Okay, thanks. See you later.